Yes.
Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Undritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, any questions or any comments?
We have,
any
yes,
complaint?
Maharaj. Any complaints? We have actually a question in the chat box. It's in Russian. It's quite long. I will translate it for our English-speaking devotees. It's
Okay.
a question from Bimala Sundari Didi. And she is asking, Dear Maharaj, please tell me how to live a harmonious life outside the temple. I would like not to think about money in general, but life forces to think of it, because you need to pay for life outside the temple. And to be honest, to live in bad conditions.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so in Mahabharata, in Bhishma Parva, Bhishmadev speaking about life, and he also mentioned about money. And he said that money can give you religiosity and prosperity. So to become poor, it's not a very good idea in Vedic culture. So when somebody become a monk or a sadhu and rejecting material life for the sake of his spiritual development, it does not mean that this person is poor. Remember, the way money works, the less you spend, the less you need it when you are in certain conscious state. And in material state, the more you spend, the more you need it. That's why, shopping is kind of a disease. So, especially for women, they want to buy. Here in America, it's a very common thing. So, but really, you can exist with very minimum outside of things if you internally fulfill yourself and if you're satisfied, self-sufficient person. I'm sorry. So in order to become self-sufficient person, you have to have something what makes you self-sufficient. For instance, profession or property or business or something that makes you financially self-sufficient from external point of view, or something that make you self-sufficient from internal point of view. So as you understand, money, it's not something which is negative, because people say, oh, I don't really care money, I don't need money. Yes, that's true. Money itself is just an instrument, but in India they've been called Lakshmi. Lakshmi means, the blessings of the goddess of Lakshmi. And you cannot exist without money. And also earning money is not easy because you have to have some skills, some professional skills. So if you become a great doctor, if you become a great professional, money will come to you. But in order to become that, you have to be, again, dedicate and yourself to something great, learn something great, and develop certain skills, whether it's business skills or professional skills, etc. So people say, well, how to live life outside of temple? Well, I mean, you have to have some life skills. And some people say, well, it's very difficult to develop those skills. Yes, that's true. It's not easy to develop living skills, especially in a world where basic, people have been trained as a slave. You're not been trained as an entrepreneur, as a businessman. You're not been trained as a great professional, or even if you are, you're not even have that opportunity to develop your great professionalism from particular point of view. But when it comes to Krishna consciousness, Krishna say, I will save I will protect what you need and give you what you need for development. So if you offer yourself to Krishna, and by Krishna's will, he will show you the way how to survive. If you're a serious devotee, if you're seriously dedicated devotee, because Krishna taking care of his devotees. So it's depending of your surrender and faith in Krishna. And Krishna said, Dadami bhakti-yoga mam, yevna mam upayate. I'm giving you buddhi yoga, I'm giving you brain to manage your life. So it's not like, oh, Krishna only give me devotion, but Krishna will not give me any other things than devotion. Everything comes with devotion. Skills, communications, and goodwill, but you have to develop that. Number one. And number two, you have to think, what for you developing all your skills? What is the goal that you're trying to achieve? So you have to have your goals. Like, for instance, I want to do some service. I need money for that. Or I'd like to go to India. I need some money for that. Or I like to take care of, deity and do some service. So all depending for what is that you're trying to achieve in your spiritual life, what's your sincere desire. But if you think, okay, now I'm devotee of Krishna, now Krishna's going to work for me, Krishna's going to pay me, that's not a devotional approach. It's actually a materialistic approach. Let me exploit God for my own, well-being and reason. Does that make sense? Hello?
Yes, Maharaj, it's very practical answer what you're giving to.
I don't know about practical, but at least in theory we understand. If we want to Krishna to play us flute and pay our bills, then maybe we found the wrong God. But if we sincerely offer ourselves to Krishna, Krishna will reveal to us path of life, which also means our economical development. And like I've said in Mahabharata, does not reject money. In fact, it tells that money can give you religiosity and dharma when you use it properly. So being poor, being devoted does not mean being poor. As we say, rich by heart.
Oh, yes.
So I wanted to ask Maharaj, I wanted to ask how much we should be consuming every day of hearing and reading, because I'm like reading Bhagavad Gita and then I'm watching a video of Shil Maharaj in the morning, and I want to know like how much we should be consuming as a neophyte devotee, so we don't I guess just cram so much in our head, like we're what's how much should we be consuming of listening such things?
I got you. Well, it says in Bhagavad, Srimad Bhagavad Sloka, if you daily with faith hear about Krishna, it will destroy all the negative obstacles on the spiritual path and material path as well, of course. Daily hearing with faith. So now your question is how much? Well, the answer is how much can you process? Let's see, if I tell you, okay, so listen about, 10 hours a day, you can say, well, at this stage of my life, I can only concentrate for 1 hour. So if I listen 10 hours, it's going to be 9 hours waste of my time, because I can concentrate myself. Remember, right now we live in a time where people cannot concentrate. This is the Kali Yuga, and especially part of Kali Yuga where technology is thriving. So ancient people, rishis and munis, they could do pranayama, meditation. We go to mountains, they stay in a cave, and they meditate for many, many hours, etc. So we live in a completely crazy, perverted world where our messengers, ringing every 2 minutes. Like we have like low attention spans. That's why people say, well, now Instagram, it has to be like 1 minute. People cannot concentrate more than 1 minute. So if I'll tell you something, which are not doable, you're probably going to give up. But if every day you're listening at some time, let's say an hour or hour and a half, and then you're chanting, and while you listen, you take notes, it's not just listening. You have to be listening, attentive process, karikata, and take your notes, take your little writing pad, write ideas or things that's important for you that you can revisit them. This become, deep listening, which we call like a deep study, deep learning. Means conscious learning, something that you're present on. And if sometime you have an opportunity to share with other devotees some of your ideas or thoughts, that's even more powerful, because that's called Shravanam Kirtanam. That means you are involved in Shravanam, hearing, and Kirtanam, preaching. So that is what advisable. There's no real dose. We can say morning class in the mat. Yes, in the mat, morning class. But again, some people in the mat, they have so much work. They have to go worship deity, cooking. So they're, involved. But in our Petersburg temple and some other temples, devotees join in kitchen. And on the kitchen, while they're cooking, there's always some lectures going on. So you're cooking, hearing lectures. Let's say you take a walk, you're hearing a lecture while you're walking or chanting japa, or you're driving, you're listening. Like yesterday, I had to drive 1.5 hours, so during driving, I'm listening class. Then I'm listening class in the morning. So sometimes, let's say you're driving to work, or somebody going by metro or by bus or by public transportation to work for half an hour, and then come back half an hour. That's like as we say, being slave. Let's say when you drive, you're like a slave, or when you walk. So you can choose that time of your life and connect hearing to it. I'm just trying to explain. You can listen willingly in the morning, but then also some other time when you walk, or when you drive, or when you do your, like, let's say, yoga or cooking or other activity, you can also listen. And hearing every day with faith, this is what required for Krishna consciousness development. So then it has to be faithful hearing and attentive hearing. I don't know, do I answer your question? I would say minimum you should do it an hour a day, but the more the better. Then how much you can process, what's your time schedule, that's something, individual.
Yeah, I got it, Maharaj. Thank you.
I mean, just observe yourself in attentive hearing, and by divine power of holy name and Krishna consciousness, it will, like, you will create yourself a specific time. Remember, we, the master of our times, we have to create our own schedule according to our priorities. But at the very beginning, connect your priorities with what that exactly you want. Like, let's say you want to walk. All right, so let me hear while I'm walking and chant. Let me drive. Okay, let me wake up in the morning before my work or before my, like, you have to really regulate yourself and call it sadhana. Sadhana means like schedule, just like anything you do, take medicine, do sports, do yoga. It's all about self-organization.
Dandavat devotees, I just want to understand. I want to take course in ISKCON. My Guru Hrishikesh Maharaj approved it, so I went there to take this course. I want to create my own course, how to work with karmic lessons, and at the same time to tell about the Mahamantra, so people do not get stuck in their karma and not just solve their biological problems. I want to aim them at service, at our mission, so they could take initiation. That's my purpose. But can I take money for this? Because it seems to be very pure saint activity. But otherwise, I will have to do some business that I don't like much. But can I do such a course and take money for that? And what course exactly do you want to take or to create? Dandavat Avadhut Maharaj. Well, I took course in a spiritual academy for girls in ISKCON. And they give you certification that later, as a psychologist, you can work with people. I'm not interested much in psychology. I just wanted, with its help, to aim people into our line. But there, they take money for studying, and then later, when you work with people, they also take money. But for me, it seems very spiritual saint activity. And how can you take money for that? For me, it's quite hard to accept the question that you can take money for this. And I just wanted to ask you whether after such certification I can do some courses myself.
Okay, so we're speaking in English, and let me answer in English because there's some English speaking. Yeah, so some ISKCON devotees, they practice certain, it's not like certain courses, educational courses, where they coaching people and charging them. Actually, according to Vedic system, knowledge should not be a business. But as we know in modern world, education is big business. But someone who's sharing knowledge with people have to have different intention to give knowledge, to share knowledge. That's a Brahminical way. Now, when you're selling something, you become Vaishya. However, Brahman with a pure heart can accept donations, can accept some payment for his services. Otherwise, how will he survive? So, in this way, in modern world, the system is not working. In other words, if I say, okay, I'm doing everything for free, then maybe some people say, okay, that's free, no problem. But they'd be happily paying, for some other thing. So really, I'm not specialist into that field. And well, one thing I can say, if you sincerely helping people, let's say a doctor, the doctor's main purpose is to cure people, to treat people. And money coming to him as a reward in a Brahminical way. Yeah, he's accepting money, but that's not his intention. Then everything's fine. But if intention becomes to make money, then, the dharma is changed. You're no longer a Brahmana, you're Vaishya. So you're no longer, serving by your skills, you're selling your product. And so I have to think about these things because, like myself, Yeah, I could probably, consult people for some kind of things that I think in a professional field would be helpful. But as myself, I would never think, well, I have to charge people money, I have to live by people's pay me. But I also understand I cannot do things alone. I need people who can participate, donate, and be part of it. So I don't know if I answered your question clear, but I would say you have to find some sweet spot that you're not become commercially agitated, but at the same time, just every other job, if you're coaching people individually and taking care of them and helping them, that they remunerate your course or whatever. Anyway, things are going in a particular direction right now, and it's very difficult to keep purity, especially when it comes to Krishna consciousness and spiritual things. So I would think twice before I put some kind of a product and commercialize it. Well, as we say, donation base is allowed, but if you're just trying to commercialize your spirituality, it's not good because it's become mundane. But at the same time, like I've said, I'm not really expert how to do that because I was never exposed to that field. Like as Avadhut Maharaj, I never think, okay, let me, start charging people for my service. It's become something else. But if people participate and give donations, I'm kind of happy to accept that. So let's just move to the next question. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, we have question from Subal Prabhu from Govindaland. He's asking that adhokshaja, I don't know if I pronounce it properly.
Yeah, yes, adhokshaja.
Yes, adhokshaja plane, which is beyond senses and how it's said could not be known. When it revealed itself by Guru Parampara as revelation, teachings, or Archa Vigraha, which is non-different from himself, for example. In this case, could we say that adhokshaja plane could be known?
Okay, well, see, let's say you're a microbe. Remember, you're like a little bacteria living in a body of, in your body living so many billions of bacteria. You're like a bacteria living in a divine body of Lord Krishna. So as a bacteria who live a little part of the colon, you cannot understand whole and supreme. However, you're part of my organism, but as a little bacteria, as a little independent living being, you can't really realize complete. So, because that's beyond your perception of senses and mind. So Krishna beyond our sense and mind perception. However, as the Guru Maharaj explained, he has one tremendous unique quality to reveal himself to whoever he chooses. So if he will choose himself to reveal to you, he will reveal to you. Now the question is, why really Krishna has to reveal to you more than everybody else? In other words, everybody has its own level of revelation of God according to their fortune. So, my question is, he doesn't reveal himself to this person, why he has to reveal to you? It's got to be some purpose, some cause, something from your side that Krishna revealed to you. And sometimes maybe not even positive, maybe negative, because at this point, most devotees, they'll surrender in their life, not out of, positive situation. Some devotees surrender in their difficulties. They realize I can't any longer do this on myself, or I don't have any power. I'm just surrendering to you, my Lord. And at this very moment, Lord will reveal himself. So whether positive, like a Dhruva Maharaj was doing mystic yoga, or negative, like a Gajendra elephant who think like, hey, I'm dying, but let me remember my sweet Lord while I'm dying. I forgot you. So something has to be from our little side is done, that Supreme Lord say, okay, now I'm revealing myself to you. I'm giving myself to you. So that's the question. Now, when you say about prakrita, adhokshaja, there are different levels of consciousness. Yes, like things you can see with your eyes, things you cannot see with your eyes, things you conceive with your mind, things you cannot conceive with the mind. Something, adhokshaja means hoksa, beyond your senses. So that means if Krishna becomes visible and starts speaking to you, that's something beyond your physical three-dimensional perception of reality, because just like in a computer game, in the pixel world, you can only connect with that reality by its own means. In other words, when you go into digital game, you need a computer or VR goggles. You need to go on website. You need to register. You need to create avatar. Like in the virtual world, you have to do so many things to do things in virtual world. But the programmer who create virtual game, he can loophole and he can cut all limitations, and maybe he can even talk directly to you while you're playing. Like, hi, I'm the engineer of the game. Like, I'd like to, take a word with you. I think you're a good player. Whatever. I assume I've been very clear from what I tried to explain and expose.
Recently, we've been talking to one devotee. We've listened to the course in bhakti-yoga, but recently there are such stories that people forgot about bhakti and stick to karma. So this devotee told that first you have to go through your karma. You cannot go to bhakti directly. And just after going through your karma, you can go in the direction of a pure devotion. So, may I ask you a question? What's correct? What do our gurus say in our mat?
Okay. Yeah. So this is a problem because, see, if my intention to survive, to make money, become a physician, astrologer, psychotherapist, coach, it's a good job because I'm helping people, I'm earning my living, and it sounds like fine. But from spiritual point of view, there are other considerations of spiritual success. And some people say, well, because you're in your spiritual evolution, you're not ready for pure bhakti. So you have to get into karma or jnana. That's true, partially. But jnana or karma are not guarantee of pure devotion. Devotion is coming from devotee, and pure association of devotee with a clean heart and proper motivation, which is very rare. So if the whole movement is turned into, consumer society where remember, that's what material world is. In material world, you're also doing service and you get paid. So you're installing somebody cable TV, you get paid. You're driving somebody, you get paid. You're cooking somebody, you get paid. But the mood of devotion and the vibe of devotion, Krishna Anushilam, is for the satisfaction of Krishna. It's total different motivation that normally people think in material world. Therefore, you cannot act on spiritual platform with non-spiritual motivation. So you cannot do spiritual things and approaching them as a mundane person. So you have to remember, Rupa Goswami said, Anubulyakshita shunyam dhyana karmadya anavritam anukulena Krishna anushilanam bhakti-rutama. Pure devotion means the satisfaction of Krishna. Satisfaction of Krishna in our mat means Guru and Vaishnavas. And so obviously, you know, I don't share this ISKCON ideas. You have to before, and I don't think like even ISKCON leaders do share that ideas. But other people who's on ISKCON, they're thinking, how do I live in ISKCON? How I do survive? How I make my money? How I pay my bills? Maybe they're concerned about that, and they're trying to figure out way. Yeah, I'm just like Bhakti Vigyan or Avadhut Maharaj. I want to stay in devotional community, but at the same time, I want to, you know, earn my living. Then questions what to do. That's always a good question. How to fund organization or fund yourself, fund your own spiritual activities. I don't know. See, in my life, I can tell you honestly, the movement that I've been involved, most of my life and most of my money I had to work for, and I had to pay for everything. In other words, I want to bring my guru to Russia. I had to do business, get money, and you know, bring my guru to Russia. I never told you, oh, you know what, Gurudev, I'll bring you to Russia. I will collect money, but you know what? Yeah, I will charge you 20% of donations. I'll charge you only 10%. You know, it wasn't my intention. So I never tried to involve my guru in my business. I always try to serve my guru and do business with others. And sometimes it was successful, very successful, that I work with some devotees and I do some business. Or sometimes some devotees would donate and participate, or some devotees would donate their time and their effort, their human resource. So depending on what you have. But idea that you cannot, remember, pure devotion means hearing and chanting in association of sincere devotees. So if this devotee understand how Prabhupada spread this mission, he didn't start a financial movement. He just started chanting Hare Krishna on the street, and some sincere souls came to hear his chanting, and that's how his, you know, activity, spiritual activity start. All right. So are we going next question or okay? So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So let me finalize what we spoke today, and I will switch within 20 minutes to my Russian lecture. And anybody who wants to switch into Russian lecture, you're welcome. Actually, I'm thinking in this particular way, it might be good if I have a today questions answers session in my Russian speaking lecture, because normally I speak things, and maybe it's the time to hear from people when they can hear answers to their own questions. First of all, I want to thank you all for being so kind and joining this wonderful program. I want to thank the organizers, Narayani, the girls, for keeping me engaged, because it's very important to keep me engaged. By the grace of devotees, I've been giving service to speak, and I'm trying to remember Krishna and lotus feet of Guru while I'm trying to speak and help others. And sometimes, I have a great spiritual flow when I speak, and sometimes I'm trying to catch flow. So it's not like every time, I'm online, I'm in divine bliss. Sometimes you're just like, oh my God, Krishna, help me to. Because even answering questions to devotee is not easy, because it has to be sincere, it has to be something true, it has to be something valuable and something practical as well. Because we can talk great philosophy, but as we say, people have very common questions. How do I survive? How much time do I spend for my spiritual practice, etc.? How much I can concentrate on, harikatha and chanting, etc. So all depends on situation and conditions, on your life. I mean, remember, most like we're going to have many, many lives before we become devotee. That means we express some spiritual devotion there. And most like we have another millions of lives after this life. And so joining the gurus and Vaishnavas, we have the most amazing opportunities for connecting with Krishna in a very special way through bhakti-yoga and devotion. And this opportunity is, according to scriptures, very, very rare. So basically, we're fortunate souls. But again, we're not realizing fully our opportunity because we don't have any measures. Like right now, it's not clear for us. But I believe the more we hear about Krishna, more associate with devotees, the less offenses we do, the more we involve in service. Gradually, this deep faith and appreciation of Krishna will grow, and it will take us to the next level. So remember, there's many levels. Like it's not like one level of spiritual evolution. So right now we're in the very beginning and very general level. But if we will move forward, eventually we'll grow. But remember, it's not just like join the school. It's like study every day in school, do some service in the school, try hard, and pray for the mercy. And that's what matters. So I want to thank you all for being part of this wonderful meeting today. As I said, I've got myself an inspiration to go to the next lecture. I have to jump to the next lecture in 20 minutes. And in my next lecture, I will continue speaking. For those who doesn't know, I give everyday Telegram lecture. It's about 10, 11 evening European time, maybe sometimes 9 o'clock, sometimes 10 o'clock evening time, because I'm in California right now. And sometimes I'm giving, lecture based on inspiration of hearing from somebody, Guru Maharaj or scriptures or holiday, or sometimes, there are different topics coming up. So there's so much things to learn, incredible opportunity to learn. There's so much wealth in Krishna consciousness we have in our sampradaya and our mission, Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, our preachers. Also, there's a great ISKCON, programs. Some of their programs really wonderful, really important. I'm talking about like Bhakti School in Russia. They have very good spiritual programs as well. So you can learn all day long, but you have to focus your service, heart, and attention, and stay in association of devotees with same mind and heart, and move forward. And I know there are some, ISKCON people, they do wonderful things. And sometimes I say, well, I have to learn from them, but I don't know whether we should learn from them everything or not. Spiritual things, yes, I think certain spiritual things we should learn from ISKCON, but certain things, the way they do their society, I'm not quite sure that we can use the same model in our society. At least Govinda Maharaj he was a very pure-hearted man. He never really tried to charge for anything. See, he had very Indian, very like saintly idea about coming, sharing knowledge, love people. You know, that's why he was very special guru amongst all, because he didn't do what everybody else did. He did what Guru Maharaj expect from him. Pure-hearted, straightforward Vaishnavism. Very rare. That's why we don't have many followers. And after him, we can understand not many people are ready for this kind of sacrifice. But Govinda Maharaj just did it, and it's a great hope for us that at least we know that some of our gurus did that. Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, Prabhupada, and we try to serve them as we can. And so, Nadia, does that make sense?
Yes, Maharaj. So
I'm not going to charge you any money for today, as you understand. It's the first first for free. But I want to charge you your soul. I want to say that don't think Krishna consciousness cheap or free. You have to give your soul for your service. That's what you're supposed to do. To give yourself, not just give little part of yourself. Like, look, money is a little part of yourself. But for Krishna consciousness, you have to fully surrender to Krishna and fully give yourself to Krishna. So don't be cheap. Don't try to cheat Krishna with grivnas or rubles or dollars. Try to give yourself completely and you will get Krishna. Krishna will also give you self. Remember, the currency in the spiritual world is different. It's not paper, it's love. And it's Krishna himself. Make sense?
Yes, Maharaj, you reminded me, one devotee recently said that about Krishna consciousness, that you or pregnant or not, you can't be half pregnant. That's reminded me.
Well, actually, you can. In Krishna consciousness, see, remember, pregnancy means it's the development stage of the baby. That means, yes, there's a first month, second month, third month, and there's also abortation, etc. So what one can say, if we giving this example, then we can say, like, I'm on the first stage of Krishna consciousness, or somebody already has a baby that devotion born as personality, like your new personality. So in pregnancy, we have different stages before the delivery of the baby. And interestingly, while woman pregnant, she has her own diet, she has her own style of life. She doesn't do things that other people do. Why? Because she has something very important within inside of her, new life. So same as in Krishna consciousness, we have different stages of our pregnancy and spiritual life, and we're developing that spiritual baby ourselves. Newborn must be done, new personality, new identity, and that has to take time. Remember, before we're born, it has to be some inner time of development. Does that make sense, what I explained?
Yes.
So you cannot be half pregnant, but what you can do is it's different stages, beginning, middle, and final stage. So we can say, as devotees, every one of us has its own stage of spiritual development. So I want to thank you all, and within, I think, 20 minutes, I'll jump on the next Russian program. But I'm very happy to speak in English. Please keep involved me. I'm sorry I got a little bit delay. I didn't catch the proper time, but it's my fault. So next time we'll try to do it better. And Keep doing your wonderful service. What you're doing is amazing. You're always doing selfless, divine service. I'm very thrilled, very inspired by Narayani and yourself and all the other devotees like Mahaprabhu and others, all devotees trying to do some service. This is the most important. Giver is receiver. And I think Krishna will arrange. I think Krishna will give you an opportunity, and Krishna will give, remember, Krishna is sincere himself. He's not stupid, he's sincere. So I believe that if you sincerely approach Krishna, he will be sincerely dealing with you. Because Krishna say, according you are offering yourself to me, I'm replying to you. So my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Jai Srila Bimal Avadhut Maharaj ki Jai. Thank you, devotees. Thank you, guests. Thank you, Bimal Sundari Didi, for your active participation. And all the rest. See you soon. Dandavats.